go.
Hi, everyone. My name is Elaine Lee. I was born in Vancouver, British Columbia, with osteogenesis imperfecta, a genetic condition also known as brittle bones, with a 2-year life expectancy. I lived in the hospital for the first 5 years of my life. I went to Simon Fraser University and Emily Carr University, and I graduated with my Bachelor's of Fine Arts degree. But I was supposed to be a lawyer, but due to my health issues and so many medical appointments, it would be very challenging to keep up with such an intense program. Now, at a petite height of 2 feet 3/4 of an inch tall, I only weigh 26 pounds. I am the size of a baby or toddler and rely on the use of an electric wheelchair to get around. I have severe scoliosis with 19% lung capacity. Because the curvature of my spine is squishing my lungs, I use a BiPAP machine, which is a ventilator, where I wear a mask just to help me breathe at night. In 2003, I had severe pneumonia and almost died, gasping for air over 1 month, unable to even say my name. In 2004, I was in a bus accident and ended up with a broken femur, housebound for 4 months. 2 months later, I ended up with bronchitis, and by 2009, I had an aneurysm. These are just some of the significant events that I have experienced, but I didn't come here to talk about me. I came to talk to you on your behalf of everybody, including all the people that you may be aware of who screamed at me yesterday through a megaphone and giant amplified speaker a few feet away from me the entire time I tried to share my speech. So I sincerely thank you for allowing me this space where you can actually hear me to share this again, so I don't need to scream out my speech. On August 15, the COVID case numbers for Alberta were approximately 397 or 404 according to CPV. In British Columbia, there were 402 cases. In the US on August 5th, there were 127,108 cases. The deaths on August 5th that were reported in Alberta were only 1. However, BC on August the 3rd had 5 cases. The US reported approximately 574, but we're not really sure if that includes all 52 states. On August 5th, the hospitalizations that were reported in Alberta were 102, including 24 in the ICU. In British Columbia, there were 55 cases, 23 of which were in the ICU. In the US, they reported on August the 5th, 52,636 COVID-19 cases. I know that a lot of you have been feeling the common traits and signs of COVID fatigue because I've been feeling the exact same. We've all been exhausted, angry, scared, sad, bored, but I found something to do because I'm an artist, so I paint and I draw. Some people have been very relieved due to vaccinations. A lot of people have been very happy due to the restrictions that have currently been lifted, and they've been grateful to be alive. But so many are still confused, unsure, anxious, feeling purposeless, hopeless, and some are even suicidal. They may not even talk about it, so you won't even know. Examples of people that I know who are going through a lot include my friend who I grew up with. She has a 7.5-year-old daughter who was born premature. She had heart surgery 3 months ago. She was an anti-vaxxer due to bad reactions in the past from other vaccines. And for over 6 or 7 months, she actually did not talk to me and was very angry that I was trying to get her to go to get her vaccine, because I knew her daughter was going to be her daughter's life would be jeopardized if she didn't go, and it would cause her great danger. A few months later, she, her mom, and 16-year-old daughter got vaccinated, and they messaged me right away. And that was actually the best moment for me. I found out that they were safe. My driver on 2 days ago actually told me as I was getting off his bus that he got COVID in mid-February from his 2-year-old granddaughter. The granddaughter got it from her dad, who's a high school teacher, and her father got it from his students at school. So if you can see where I'm getting at is that there's a real domino effect. So if one person is a carrier or has COVID, the other person is going to get it, and we can't actually control it if we don't even know, because a lot of people are asymptomatic. I also know of an immunocompromised client who has a disability and a caregiver. The caregiver refused vaccination for the longest time, and she claimed her body reacts different and compares it to the story of 23 people in Norway that died of the virus. But a few months later, she got the vaccination because she also became fearful and realized that the trend was to go get your vaccinations. However, when she got to the client's home, she did not wear her mask in the client's house, except when handling the client in the client's bedroom. When the client asked the helper to put on her mask, she replied that the rest of her family is upstairs, so there's no need to do that. I know there's a lot of hesitancy, confusion, and people may not care because they're so tired. But please remember, so many of these people are still feeling this way because they have a lot of language barriers. So, I want to reiterate to Dr. Dina Henshaw, please keep all your announcements, information, etc. simple, and don't use words like complacent or vigilant. I know that the word complacent means that people aren't following the rules, and that vigilance means that we must remain careful and cautious and use our best judgment. However, if you really rely on everyone's judgment, you can tell that most people don't care anymore because it's become a joke to everybody. As a quick reminder, perhaps people just need to be extra cautious, pay attention, take care, and stay safe. However, there's also too much information, which ends up in a lot of frustration, confusion, and anger. Maybe they are unaware because there's so much negativity around that they don't follow the news or case numbers. I know everyone wants their freedom because the national anthem of Canada says that we are a strong and free country. However, now those that want their freedom are acting as if we are being held hostage by requiring the government to reinstate the health issues, to keep the health restrictions and rules to keep everyone safe. I'm really sorry, but this is not how COVID-19 works. It does not discriminate. Even people who are fully vaccinated have got COVID-19 because nothing in life is guaranteed. This makes it all the more reason we must keep health measures. We must continue to wear masks in all public indoor spaces or wherever there is a lot of crowds and a lot of people around us. We must continue testing, and we must continue contact tracing, which is a fundamental human right. Because as a human being, I would really like to know if the people around me that I'm coming into contact with are carriers of the virus or they actually have the virus. Because if someone comes into my home to look after me and they have the virus and they don't even know, that means my entire family is compromised and we could get sick. And with my 19% lung capacity, that means I could actually die. And in my case, I know for a fact that I cannot be intubated as the respiratory therapists have been doing all this time during the pandemic, where people are in the ICU struggling to keep alive. And also, isolation is a very important thing we must keep and enforce. From my personal observations, the vocabulary in many of the announcements on television or social media from Alberta Health Services and our so-called leaders and top doctors is too difficult to understand because of the vocabulary, language barriers, and etc. And the official language that's being used to sound like they're more educated and this is the most professional way of going about it. And it's so scientific that many of those with language barriers and even just regular everyday people do not understand that level of vocabulary or difficulty in concepts. The lack of understanding is also due to constant changes in the rules and regulations. And now Alberta is a joke and on the map for all the wrong reasons. I've even seen protest signs from our side that speak of how much we have done and why we deserve this. Yes, we did follow rules, but those signs make this all sound like it was a burden to you. Yes, we followed rules to protect everyone. Therefore, it is not a burden. So everyone needs to wake up and please stop making everything sound like a burden. Because if anyone should feel like a burden, it is me. For simply staying alive, only to face the amount of unimaginable challenges that are not even related to my physical condition and all the bureaucracy that I've had to deal with throughout my life. You want to play the blame game? Even if these people are at fault, this is not the way to move forward. Please stop mixing politics with health and safety. If we were in a wildfire, you would do everything in your power that you could to help one another stay alive, no matter what we believe in. This virus does not discriminate. It doesn't care if you're well educated, wealthy, low income, etc. It doesn't care about your ethnic background, gender, age, or race. Sometimes it doesn't even care if you've been fully vaccinated. Sadly, we are still in the middle of a global pandemic, even though case numbers were lower at one point in Alberta. But it does not mean this is over. It may never fully disappear. Now, I ask all of you, what would you say at my funeral? Because dying is very real. And as young as I am, I have attended 33 funerals in my lifetime. If my presence at yesterday's rally was not enough to keep everyone safe, then I don't know what is. As a fully vaccinated, immunocompromised, 26-pound person with only 19% lung capacity, I hope this gives you all reassurance, hope, and comfort to know that I did not have any adverse or bad reactions to the vaccine, except relief. Life is so short. Please live it to the fullest and never take life for granted. Sadly, in reality, it does take official rules, regulations, reminders, and guidance from people with job titles and authority for society to take this seriously, to believe that this is real, and remember that we need to protect each other so that we can live a fulfilling life with intention. It is impossible for any one of you to do anything in life without your health and safety. Therefore, I plead and beg our so-called leaders to please reinstate the health and safety measures that protect us all while still living our lives to the fullest, because that is the very least you can do. So maybe I can actually sleep a few hours. Take care and please stay safe.